Gold is money and everything else is credit.
Currency that has been sort of created out of thin air has been added into this economy through the Fed. What would you put as a figure? Would it be 6 trillion? Is that too much?
It would be, 6 trillion in terms of deposits with the banks and currency, be 6 to 7 trillion.
Okay. That they're just injecting into it sort of out of nothing.
Out of nothing. They're the central bank of the United States. Now, think about it. The central bank of the United States is the only institution on earth that can create dollars and pay for assets out of nothing.
It's alchemy. They're Rumpelstiltskin.
Well, yes, in that sense, yes. And they've been given that authority by the Congress of the United States for purposes of dealing with crises, for example.
What's to stop us from creating I used to make fun of Paul Krugman for his idea of $1 trillion coin, now I feel myself saying, hey man, well, let's just get $10 trillion coins, give one to China, one to Europe. Are we square? Good. And then we start again because this whole thing seems manufactured.
Okay, who receives the money?
All the people that own the debt of the United States. So that money would be received by China, by Europe, and all the debt holders.
Okay. All you're doing there is changing one debt for another, because the printing of the money is a liability, is a debt of the Federal Reserve System. That dollar, that liability that the Fed created, it's now owed to China.
No, we give it to, what I'm saying is we're giving it to them now and saying, we don't owe you that anymore. Here it is.
Yeah, but they have, what do they have? What did they
have
get?
They have $1 trillion.
$1 trillion of Fed liabilities. Of money.
Money that we printed, yeah.
Right, and that's a liability of the Federal Reserve. That's
and then,
debt.
and then they forgive themselves and they just burn it.
Then they just say, you're okay, we like you, good luck. I don't think China's in the business of doing us any favors right now, and I don't think Europe is either, for that kind of, because why would they take the loss? Why would they take the loss?
I guess I'm confused as if we can print money. You just said we're the only.
We can buy an asset.
Okay.
Any asset by printing money. That is,
But you can't pay debt by printing money.
You can buy debt by printing money.
So what if we just buy back our debt?
Well, because all you're doing is.
I feel like you're having trouble. It's like talking to a monkey. You're like talking to a monkey and trying to figure out, how do I communicate with this monkey? I don't know what to do.
No. I totally get it's confusing.
Yeah.
But remember, creating money, it means that the Federal Reserve creates a liability, debt, to buy debt or buy other assets.
Right.
Okay, so if they go out and say, well, to China, we want the government debt, and they say, okay, and we say, we'll give you our deposit, our money.
That we've printed.
Right, China says, fine, what kind of interest are you going to pay me? It's just another form of government debt. Am I making sense?
It makes sense in the make-believe world of conjuring. Like there is a certain part of this that all feels like a mirage to some extent. Right. So it's, when you think about fundamentals, right? So when I think about the fundamentals of the banking system, it makes sense to me. You have a central clearinghouse that their business model is, I'm going to trust you with my savings. You're going to give me interest on that. And you're going to make a little money on that by loaning that money out to somebody else for a little bit more money.
Right.
It's a business model that makes sense.
Right.
When we start to get into, I'm printing money to buy bonds to artificially keep those interest rates low, it makes less sense. So it's hard for me not to think of, well, why can't we just buy back our own debt so that we owe it to ourselves? And if you owe it to yourself, then it no longer can be weaponized by a foreign power or even by us, because you can create a different paradigm of what that debt looks like.
Right.
So it's hard for me when sometimes the rules of the Fed are explained, it's a little like saying, yes, you can levitate, but you cannot spin around. Do you know what I mean? It all seems sort of fake.
Well, it's a fiduciary system. It's all faith-based, right?
Oh, my Lord.
Yes, you got to have confidence in that currency, in that dollar, because there's nothing backing. There's no gold backing it.
So it's in some ways, it's a mass delusion.
Well, that's a harsh word, but so long as you have faith, yeah. Well, you might see it today,
right?
In terms of with all this printing, you see these cryptocurrencies, these bitcoins,
right,
which are basically virtual currencies
and faith-based
and faith-based.
So a lot of you may not know much about Thomas Hoenig or Dr. Thomas Hoenig. And I'll put a link in the description to this podcast from The Investors Podcast entitled Origins of the Fed, Charles Koch's Legacy and Untold Story of Thomas Hoenig. And Christopher Leonard's actually written a book called The Lords of Easy Money. And I actually found this very fascinating to understand Dr. Thomas's background in working at the Fed and his role in being the sole person that voted against quantitative easing. And so it's quite interesting. So I'll put a link in the description below and you guys can check this out in your own time. And for those of you that want to learn more about quantitative easing, how it works, and its repercussions, then check out this video that I recently did, Quantitative Easing is Inflationary. I know the title is controversial because the argument is QE is simply an asset swap. The Fed or central banks create bank reserves. Those bank reserves don't get out into the economy. Well, this video perhaps challenges that somewhat. And I'll leave you with this famous quote: "Gold is money, everything else is credit," from JP Morgan. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Really do appreciate it. Love to see your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you all again on another episode of Finance Uncut.